evening, good evening. It's been a while, so everybody in chat, hello. You're going to have to tell me whether I sound reasonable. Well, relative to how I usually sound. I know I probably don't sound reasonable, but am I kind of accessible? I've just realised I've got a white background on the XL. You probably can't see the chat on stream, but I'm sure you can all manage. I'm waiting until I see something in chat, and then I will do my proper introductions. Let me know if I'm quiet, loud. Nothing yet. You are echoing. You're a bit quiet. Not sure how I'm echoing. Well, probably because I'm in my... Oh, I've just broken the boom. Oh, this is going well, everyone. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. Right. Well, this is going well so far. Apparently, I'm a bit quiet. No, definitely no echo now, Bob. Yeah. Right. Okay. It's been a while since I've used this microphone. While we figure out whether I'm quiet or not, I've got someone else here to talk with me, so maybe he's less quiet. Hi, Liam.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
It is well. Usual.
Not so great, apparently.
The usual professional start to one of these streams. Some things never change. Can we move the screen off of my monumental app? One fuck up. No, we can't. Good. Yeah, good to have you back on the stream.
Yeah, good to be back. Good for us to be doing this again.
Yeah, it has been a while. So we are not looking. Aha, I'm back. I can see me moving again.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Right, wonderful. Some things never change.
On out the few creases.
Yeah, so I've turned Liam up, so you're definitely louder in my ear, so hopefully you'll be louder for everyone else.
Hello, testing.
Yeah, very loud in my ears. Okay.
I don't want to get too excited this evening.
Okay. We can hear you both now. Right. At some point, we're going to have to change it. I'm never going to get this right, and we're going to spend an hour going around in circles. Right. So, what we're going to talk about this evening is a few things. We're going to talk about some of the stewarding that has gone on this season. We're going to talk about lapping, specifically, with views from both sides of the spectrum, shall we say. And we are going to talk about just kind of PLR in general, because obviously this season's a bit different to usual. Well, and I'm here, which, I wasn't supposed to be.
Return.
Yes, so we'll probably cover that at some point. So the way I was going to go kind of do this was I was probably going to do flick through the first two races, look at some incidents. Then we'll talk about lapping. Then we'll see how much we want to look at some of the remaining two incidents.
Many incidents.
There are 63 incidents,
Jesus.
I think, to look at, so we'll see. And then we'll talk about PLR as well. Those in chat, if you've got any questions or anything you want clarifying, just shoot. I'm kind of looking at... I know Liam will be looking at it as well. I know some people will not be here live, but will probably watch this back. So just want to make sure we cover the things we need to cover. So obviously this season is a bit different. We kind of have gone back to our roots almost with a kind of one big split. There was a lot of, well, this is what I've heard anyway, disquiet last season about the average standard of driving, shall we say, in all the splits that happened last season.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided to whittle it back down a bit to a single split. That also makes it easier to admin on our side, to be honest, and also get stricter on the stewarding. So
yeah, I feel like it's better as well because you know who you're racing against as well. Then and it's not just like you're racing with the same people every Monday, and you kind of know what they're going to do and what to expect from them, rather than just random people that join in every now and then.
Yeah, and we're also only 4 races in, so
yeah.
Those relationships don't happen overnight. The main thing we want to do is create a community that people can have those conversations and build those relationships. Sometimes that will work, sometimes that will not. But I know some people have already left, but we're never going to please everyone, and we're never going to get every decision 100% right, which we'll kind of get to.
Yeah, I feel like we need to disclose as well that this is mine and your opinion. We're not stewards, so our opinion might be slightly different to what what's been decided.
Well, to tweak that, I am a steward, but
are you?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, well, explains a lot, doesn't it?
I'd say who made you that?
Me, not Al Gooch, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, he's professional, so.
But I have not been leading the stewarding this season.
Okay.
I've jumped in a couple of times when they've needed a third set of eyes, or there's a few I led on, but a lot of these I was not involved in. So it'll be interesting to see kind of me because I've been a steward for a year and a half, so I've hopefully seen quite enough. Whether I'm a good one is a completely different question, but I like to think I have a view of how I do things. Whether people agree with that is different. And then you, as not, it'll be interesting to see how similar we are. And
more of a driver.
Yeah, occasionally, so I've heard.
But, when my wheels working, yeah.
But I mean, we've talked about stuff before on the watch parties, right? We often are kind of starting from about the same ballpark. Sometimes we're slightly different. Stewarding, as much as people love to say it's objective, it is not. It is subjective. We can have as many guidelines as we want. A lot of the times, things are kind of in between two different things. All we can try and do is be as consistent as we can do. Anyway, let's start looking at some stuff, shall we? So we're going to start with an interesting one because apparently, and I was away for this, but round 1, Imola, grand opening of the new One Split World Tour here at PLR. New admin, Eric Megaro, loving his new status, and he causes a mass pile-up.
Got out of the way quickly, didn't he?
Yeah, I know Eric's in chat, so now, one of the questions we often have is, he's caused a massive. Look how many people he's impacted there with that. He should be banned. That's not quite how we steward things. We kind of steward things, and we're going to watch the incident here. I'll give you some sound, so you can hear all the crashing. This is the start. So Eric's down in 21st, which is not where you want to start in Imola. I actually prefer like Nürburgring turn 1 to Imola, because Imola's like second or third gear chicane. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But this incident doesn't even happen. The chicane, they haven't even got there. And obviously, carnage. Typically, welcome to PLR, everyone. This is what we do. I'm just going to kind of let it flow through a couple more times. I think we're going to go on board. So what we do when we steward things, we normally have a chase cam and onboard from both drivers. I mean, this is a bit more than 2 drivers, but it'll be with Eric and who he hits. And then we've obviously got the throttle and brake and steering inputs down in the bottom right as well. So we'll see what. Now this is awkward because it's not like he's diving into T1 to make places. He's not being super aggressive.
Yeah.
What happens is, and I think it's Euphoric State, whose real name I don't know, breaks kind of unexpectedly, and Eric hits him. Now, and then Eric hits Tom, but there's not much he can do there. And then Eric is on the brakes when he gets hit from behind. Not much he can do there either. So
No.
everything that happens after is carnage.
Just a bit of a cluster.
Yeah. Now, I think Eric got 10 points for this. So that is, obviously, we have the discretion to double things on lap 1, because lap 1 is lap 1. If we're going to punish anything, we're going to punish lap 1 more harshly than anything else. Because as you can see, if that happened on a normal... Well, first of all, it wouldn't happen on any other lap, because Euphoric State wouldn't be braking there. And also, you wouldn't have quite as many cars quite as close. The mitigating circumstances here, I think, is that, I think you can reasonably kind of say that Eric probably didn't expect him to brake that early, that hard.
No.
Because often what you do is you kind of coast in, right?
I think he got the Euphoric State, got up behind whoever was in front of him, and then decided, actually, I don't want to be this close to this person coming into T1, so he braked early, and then Eric wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it's the old car insurance thing. Eric is the driver behind it. It's on him. And I think you can see here that, it's caught out by the car in front, braking hard, careless. It is careless, unfortunately. And then Papa's little thing, yeah. But that's why it was, it was 6 penalty places, because I don't think he was stopped because he was hit so many times. So it's not like we can expect him to wait afterwards for people. But the penalty places isn't just about, as we'll get to with other discussions that have happened recently, isn't just about kind of neutralising the incident. It's about a deterrent. So, I mean, that's kind of the level setting for the kind of thing that we do. Yes, he caused a massive pile-up, but it's not quite as bad as the outcome this time happened to be, which is a shame. Right, let's just kind of flick through these as quickly as possible. So I think we've got a few lap ones here that are probably, happened after this one.
Yeah, just the follow-on from
the
original incident.
Exactly, and you obviously have a lot more sympathy for people behind an incident who... Again, this is... he's just hit Eric again on the way through. So this is an interesting one. I'll be interested to see this one from a view we're about to find any second now. Come on. So I think he hits Liam Bow, who has since left. Obviously, there's carnage happening in between there as well. I want to see what. Because I think actually, let's have a quick look again, because he did come off the power, and then he got. So if you look in the bottom right, you can see his throttle inputs. He comes off the power and then gets back on it just as Liam in front of him gets on the brakes. So it's pretty awful.
You could see in the gap in the cars a car facing sideways, 90 degrees to the track. It's probably a good idea to get on the brakes at that point.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where I think I personally would have doubled that to an 8. Or maybe just given them, of course, that was a minor mistake. Potentially, I would have said you should have had a bit more. The thing is, he had already come off the throttle.
Yeah, I guess it also depends on what your graphics setting on. If he's got it set there so he can't see that many cars, he never would have seen that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And then we've got let's rock on with it's always a good start when you start with everybody just all over the place.
Yeah, everyone rejoining from different angles.
Yeah, so I think Morna gets a small one here for his rejoin. So he's trying to. Oh my god, it's absolute carnage. Oh, Tom Week reversing into in there. So that's always good. And that's not a great rejoin.
No, I mean, at least they had the sense not to rejoin straight back before the T1 or T2, if you want to call it.
We've seen worse at PLR, and look, he's turning left. He's trying to stay on the inside. So again, it's yeah, not brilliant, but not the worst. So he got 4 there. No, we've always got to be careful with these ones, right? Because this is Bella on the co-owner of the thing. Am I looking at the right one? Yeah, this is Greg. I didn't realise he was in a pink and black Mercedes.
Yeah,
Ooh, it's a bit.
I'm guessing he's got some rear damage.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see Bella into the corner before, are we? Yeah,
He just kind of left his nose there, didn't
yeah.
he?
It was a bit of a nothing move, right? You can't really see
Yeah.
it from Greg's side, so we'll just
Like
watch
commit
it
or don't, one or the other.
It's one of those horrible ones where someone's just kind of half stuck their nose in, just to see whether you close the door or not.
Yeah.
I hate that when you're the driver ahead. Was that?
But he wasn't alongside either,
No,
coming into the
exactly,
corner.
because
So.
he's kind of half dive bombed up the inside, which isn't great. I mean, he hasn't fully.
What
dive
did he get the penalty for that?
He got a warning.
Oh, okay. Just a warning. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, that was, and I think he actually did something in race 2 where he actually ended up getting a penalty because he'd done this in race 1,
The same
and
thing.
hadn't learned.
Yeah.
Right, and then we get to Mr. Lewis Kett,
Who has since departed.
Yes, he lasted 2 races. Ooh, this one's got sound. This is on Greg as well.
What was that? Oh, is that a warning? Or
I think that may have been a minor mistake because I don't think the curbs have spat him out, right? Because
Yeah.
you never go over those curbs; they will kill you every time.
Yeah.
But Greg has left him room not to go on those curbs, I think.
Yeah.
And look, Greg is alongside. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's unlucky. I think you could maybe make the argument that it was a racing incident, but I think he got. Yeah, okay. I can kind of go along with that one. I think I maybe would have gone minor rather than careless, which is 1 license point difference. But I can see why it's been given careless because Greg has left room for him not to go over that sausage, which will spit you out into
Yeah.
the car that is next to you. So,
but again, he's raced with Greg a fair bit, so he would probably know that Greg would have left him space.
right, yeah.
So why he didn't just take the space, I don't know. But
Yeah, it would didn't give him space.
yeah,
Then that would be probably more on Greg than Lewis.
yeah,
Oh, Lewis is in the chat. He just understeered into the. I don't know how you understeered when you're turning right.
yeah. That would have been an oversteering.
Yeah. But look, it is what it is.
Either way.
Yeah. I maybe would have gone minor there, which would have been very little difference in terms of actual outcome in terms of stewarding. So this, unfortunately, is Mr. Kett again, I think. Or Mr. Steekvort. Not sure what we're going to see here. Oh, no. No, it's Revat to death. Yeah, okay. I've been killed there in LFM races recently. That was fun. So I think this is the standard. And to be fair to Lewis, he waits by the looks
He
of
did
it.
wait, yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense to this. Okay. Yeah, so this is the completely outbreak yourself into Rosazza. Oh, you're down the inside. There's nothing you can do. Oop. Big
I think I remember this. He was behind me for a bit as well, and we had sort of like went through the field together for a little bit. So I think he was trying to make up places.
Yeah, obviously.
Might have just
it was like a
outbraked
seize
himself
down.
on Bob and passing Bob.
Get up the inside of Bob, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was on the marbles on the inside.
Yeah,
And just
I mean, this is just
carried on.
This is just a mistake. You know, you can see he's full on the brakes, but it's also completely on Lewis. So it is what it is. So again, yeah, okay, so that one I wouldn't argue with personally. Oh no, and apparently this is straight after. So not a great start to the season for Lewis, unfortunately. So right, he's back up the inside of Bob. Hang on, is this is Yuri again? Okay,
It's the same one.
it is. It looks like the same
Yeah.
one, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Maybe it's later in the video. Ah, okay. So you let Yuri back past him. Down into T1 we go. Hit the curb again.
Oh.
And into, yeah, I mean, and again, I think you can see here that Yuri sees him coming and leaves in space.
Yeah.
Not to go over that curb. Kind of backs out.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of the ones that I would have said, if you're not going to make it, go to the outside.
Always try and go to the outside if you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think when I just watched his brake input, he didn't start braking until the start of the curb, basically, on the right-hand side.
Mm. Ooh. Yeah.
He was never making that.
No. No, I mean, fortunately on that one he mainly killed himself, but this is the borderline wreck. I mean, yeah, it was from a long way back, and you weren't making it. Yeah, so that was just a bad lap.
Yeah, it's one of the ones once you get like sand and stuff on your tyres,
yeah,
you don't realise how much effect it has until you get to the next braking zone.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh shit, I'm not stopping.
And sometimes after you've had an unfortunate incident like down into Ravatsa, sometimes you just need to be like, okay, well, let's take a lap just to find myself,
calm down a bit,
figure out where the car's at. I don't think any of those were massively bad. You know, just mistakes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
One after another quite early in the race, which is just unfortunate. This says small bump. I'm probably just going to move over that because we've got a lot to look at. Okay, so we've got Osric, who we'll be seeing more of, I'm sure, tonight, and Anthony. Welcome back to the World Tour, Anthony. Long time no see. I see you in chat. Good to have you back, my friend.
Oh, the McLaren on this straight was diabolical.
What, slow is it?
Yeah, it was so slow.
I remember this incident actually. Yeah, so this is awkward actually, because I think Anthony gets a penalty. I can kind of see where he's coming from. I think we may have had Anthony, let me know in chat. I think we had a discussion about this in incident clarification, if I remember right. Because obviously the back straight or the start straight Imola is not straight. So Anthony's coming past for sure, but unfortunately he kind of murders Osric as he does it. I think he waits. I think that's him up there waiting potentially. It's going to crack onto any second now. There we go. Come on.
Yeah, the only trouble is even if you wait, he's got quite a bit of damage there. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's at least sort of like 15 seconds of damage.
But again, it's important to realise we don't necessarily judge it on what damage it's done to Oscar's car, for example. She can see it from on board. Doesn't look that bad, right? Because let's do that again.
A little bump.
Just looking at only the kind of in-car view, he's following his line, right?
Yeah.
Tiny little bump.
To turn left.
Unfortunately, it's when you kind of look from the outside view, which I think this is about to do, which is why it's always important to kind of look at both. He drifts out as if he's going to take the normal line going into T1, and Osric is there.
Yeah, Osric's there. Yeah.
So you can't do that. It's not malicious. It's unfortunate, you know, and it's a very small touch that leads to quite a big accident. But I think he got careless and he got some quite big penalties there. I think because he didn't wait and he got a 10-place penalty. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think Anthony knows, looking back on it, that could have done that better. It certainly wasn't malicious. Okay, what have we got here? I'm just going to whack on to race 2. We've seen enough of Imola. Right, so now we've got... What was round 2? Paul Ricard.
Paul Ricard? Yeah, it was Paul Ricard.
Okay, so this one we had a... So, before we start this one, worth remembering, and this is where I think it will be useful to get Liam your view and also those in chat in terms of how consistent are we being and how we apply lap one penalties, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier for us as stewards to get it consistent within a race, less so across a season. And I know we haven't sat down as like a stewarding team because we have jobs and lives to kind of review every incident and make sure we're being consistent across a season. We hope we are, but we might be wrong. So it'll be interesting to kind of, as we go through this, see how it compares to other lap one incidents we've seen.
Yeah.
I know we'll talk about the Osric one at Alton Park as well later on tonight. But so this, it's worth remembering that Eric got 10 points for the Imola lap one, even though it wasn't pile up, yeah, with mitigating circumstances. I think for this one, Liam got 5, and we'll check again afterwards. Which he also wasn't happy with, which, fair enough. Drivers are allowed to be unhappy with things that happen to them, but, he didn't get 10. And I think I'd like to try and explain why, because I was part of that conversation. So this is, obviously, Paul Ricard at the start, lots of slow, loopy corners. And I think what happens is Liam kind of gets caught out by Yuri kind of not being on the throttle when he expects him to be coming out of this corner.
Yeah.
So he kind of dives up the inside a little bit. So let's watch this one again. So I'm trying to remember the conversation we had with Liam. But Liam's talk, I think he was saying, and Liam, if you watch this, apologies if I get this wrong. It was a while ago, so I'm trying to remember. He kind of dived up the inside a little bit because he thought he was going to hit him, but then stayed up the inside, and then actually hit him. There, just on the back.
Yeah. And what was this decided as?
I think it was 5 points and 5 places. So you can see he comes back on the throttle and then straight to the back of him. And then drives off, and then he kind of drove off round him, I think.
Yeah. I think I would sort of put that as, was it a minor mistake that's been put down as, or just careless?
Careless, but not doubled.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with that.
It's I think, if we were going to say that was minor, I'm trying to remember, I may have had a conversation with Greg at the time where you could put that as minor, but then I'd double it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because and then he'd end up with 8, but probably less penalty places, because careless is between 3 and 5 penalty places which can be doubled. Minor is 1 to 3 that can be doubled. So swings and roundabouts. I thought
okay, so careless is more severe than a minor mistake.
Yes, it goes warning, minor, careless, reckless.
Yeah. I think had that been not on lap 1, it would have been a minor, but because it was lap 1, I would have put that as a careless.
Yeah, because I think you need to be expecting people not to be on the throttle at the same times as they would any other lap in the race. So you can't just floor it as you normally would.
Liam's just put in the chat that basically exactly what I just said.
Yeah. I think that's why but that's also why we didn't double it, because it wasn't like he's dive bombed on that one.
Yeah.
He's not going for a move, so we haven't doubled it. But I still think it's careless. Okay, then we got. I mean, as it's Osric, I know Osric will want to see this, so let's watch it. I think this is one of the Zunabovi rejoining, and Osric has to come out of it.
Yeah. Best rejoin.
Not the best.
Not the worst.
Not the worst.
Not the best.
And the thing is, you can see him coming, and I'm not sure where else he's quite supposed to go. He could probably keep it a little bit tighter, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, not brilliant. I think we went with a warning on this. I think you could have gone minor mistake on this, but given there was no contact,
yeah, that was quite a swerve into the middle of the track.
It was quite a bit of swerve. Yeah, so yeah, actually looking back at this, I think maybe you could certainly make the argument this should be a minor mistake, because he could have gone a lot further on the right.
Yeah, like not just next to the curb rather than
exactly. Yeah,
in the middle of the track.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think potentially Ivan's got away with one there. I think you could maybe make the argument that that should be a minor mistake. Osric could have been tucked a bit closer. He could have been, but it's not. Osric is not rejoining the track.
Yeah, he's the one on the track. And someone's rejoining.
Exactly. Ivan is
it's
rejoining
their job
the track.
to
He needs to rejoin
safely.
Exactly. And he could do that a lot further to the right, and probably still beat Osric down into the next corner. Yeah, a little bit lucky there, I think, maybe on reviewing.
Was this the incident that caused that rejoin?
Quite possibly. 3 wide.
3 wide.
Oh, little bump. Oh, man. Yeah, it is the incident.
And did someone else report this against Ivan?
Given it was lap 1, it may have been picked up by Lee.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I'm not sure you saw what the outcome of this was. So I'd be interested to see what you think. Yeah, where this ended up. So I think we've got Robert Arlavi on the inside there. I'll just go back a few seconds after this, and then who's 263? Is it Alina? Yeah, it's Andrus on the outside. So 3 wide on lap 1. Good fun. I think Robert just comes over the curb a little bit. Just bump, and then another bump.
I feel like at most for me it'd be a minor mistake, if not a racing incident. For Robert on the inside, just running.
Yeah.
Because he's still got space there, but that's what I mean. It's a tough one, like.
What have we got? Minor mistake. For Ivan. Interesting. Well, here we go. This is getting spicy. Apparently Ivan's been given the penalty points here. Interesting timing, Andrus. Tough situation. 3 wide through turn 2. Ivan slightly turned in on Robert, and that sent him into Andrus. Now we haven't seen all that. Maybe I haven't pulled the other video across. Driving quite well and respectfully. Okay, let's watch that again now that we know the. I guess we can see steering inputs down the bottom right here, so maybe keep an eye on that. I mean,
I think Robert's just bounced off the curb a little bit and just bumped him, and then he's bumped into Andrus.
I think you can, like, it's difficult, right? Because you could say Ivan's kind of pinching Robert a little bit, and he has more space on his left, but you're also 3 wide.
Yeah,
so
like he hasn't got any space to the left really to give Robert any space.
So, I mean, to be fair, Robert can't go any further to the left because he has no space from Ivan. So I can kind of see that, like, because Ivan does have space to the left, and this kind of then goes back to the Lewis on Greg one, where Greg gave space and Lewis didn't take it. Andrus has given space here and Ivan hasn't taken it, which has then forced Robert up onto the curb. So I can see the logic. Was there a place penalty given with this? 1. Okay. Well, put it this way. Between the two of them, I think it's worked out okay.
Yeah.
I think between those two incidents, he should have ended up with a minor mistake and 1 penalty place.
He's done all right,
there we go. There it is, and here we go. Proof that we don't get everything absolutely perfect. I think I'd have those the other way around.
Yeah.
But who knows? I may have actually been involved in this. So, you know, different week, different view. You know,
depends on how much whiskey you've had that
exactly.
night.
Wouldn't put it past me.
How many times you can actually see it through?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it double vision or?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's 6 wide. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But having looked how close Ivan was to Robert, I can kind of see. I can at least see the logic behind this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's on you.
What was this? Oh, this is a non.
Yeah.
This is a non-issue.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider anything of this.
Yeah. That's just lap 1.
Yeah.
A bit of a nothing. Look, Jeffrey's got people on his inside as well. Yep.
I think he was more concerned with the person that was on his left. And
exactly.
Didn't see me on the radar there.
Yeah. No, that's an easy one. Okay. Okay, quick racing incident. Let's have a look. I know Axel's in the chat. Okay, he hits. I think that's Mr. Felipe Diaz. He's just hit. If I recognise that livery. It was indeed. So he's coming across. Felipe's come off the left-hand line a little bit. That's unlucky. That's unlucky for Felipe. Because actually he's going over to left a little bit, but he's also ahead. He's not swerving across the road. And I think if you watch Felipe here, he actually comes off the left and goes right, or goes straight and the track's
Yeah, he's
left.
come off of the
and that's
curb.
I don't think there's anything Axel can do about that one. That's just unlucky.
I think I've just got a racing incident.
Yeah, that's in there as a racing incident. So,
Oh, okay.
I think that's fair enough. Tom Week.
Oh god, here we go.
Tom had a big cry about this one.
Yeah, he's been crying the last couple of weeks about these incidents.
I'm not sure he's in chat, but he will watch this back at some point. So hello, you big crybaby.
Stop punting people, Tom.
So Tom got a minor mistake doubled to 8. So again, probably worth keeping the Liam Bow incident in consideration,
Yeah.
where he didn't get it doubled. And this is on Alexander, lap 1 at Paul Ricard. So it's an interesting one, quite a short video actually.
Yeah.
So, and I actually may have been getting confused here where I said Liam said he was getting out of the way of the car in front. It was actually Tom.
Yeah.
So he's coming up behind Alexander, so he's obviously quite clearly behind going into this hairpin here. And then who is it on the left here? I can't remember, number 84. But anyway, so Alexander has nowhere to go if you keep an eye on this, and Tom, he makes the choice to make it 3 wide and causes the issues, and then drives off. But I will give his side of the story after we watch this again.
In my opinion, coming into that hairpin, when Alexander started to drift to the left a bit there, Tom should have stayed on the brakes.
Yeah, so
Like just a smidgen longer, just to let him drop back in behind Alexander.
Exactly, because I think Alexander's gone left because he thinks he's going to get hit.
Yeah.
And he's letting Tom not hit him, and then Tom's gone, brilliant, I'm through.
Yeah, here's a space now.
Yeah, and he's made it 3 wide and then hit Alexander. It's not a massive thing, which is why I think we've ended up with minor mistake, and he's driven off. I can see from Tom's view why he thought, well, I didn't hit him, he got out of the way, I went through, bit of door banging, happy days. I've made 2 positions, haven't I done brilliantly there with no damage? But I'm pretty comfortable with us going minor mistake and doubling it for that one. Because it
was a bit careless just to carry on as well. Like,
well, he got 6 penalty positions for it, which is more than Liam got. I can kind of see where he was coming from, because Alexander did move to the left, so he did have space to get in there. But there was,
that one. Like, you don't need to jam out the inside.
Yeah, exactly. He's only moved there because he was worried you were going to hit him.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more kind of gentlemanly conduct more than anything else.
Yeah.
Whereas
he was trying to avoid a collision, and then Tom took that as dive up the inside and make a collision happen.
Exactly, and it was door to door. It wasn't the collision itself wasn't a punt. Like the Liam one was. It was kind of door to door as they went through side by side. It was just Tom was a bit over cheeky, shall we say, in getting through there, especially on lap 1 when it was 3 wide. So I'm pretty comfortable with that one. I know Anthony's in chat, so we'll have a quick look at this one. This is another one of the Delta Hunters who was unfortunately left.
Who did he just spin?
Mr. Fox, and then he waits for him. To be fair, look how long he's waiting.
Yeah.
On lap, I think this is lap 1. I mean, this is good behaviour.
Has Anthony fallen asleep and what's happening?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened. There he is.
There he goes.
I mean, that's good behaviour. Because I think Anthony hits the brakes to avoid. It's not like James is on the throttle trying to send it up the inside. He's just trying to follow him through. He's not even. If you look, he's not even on the throttle when he hits him. So
I wish we could see Anthony's.
Yeah. There may well have been, but yeah, that's gone through as a warning.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. Okay, now we've got a Warner on. Okay, let's. A lot happened at Paul Ricard, didn't it? Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of look at all of them because I'm aware it's already nearly 9 o'clock. We haven't even talked about lapping yet, so let's try and pick out. Well, we've got a 10 here, so and then we've got Osric and Liam. Let's look at these 4, and then we'll move on to lapping.
Yeah.
So Lewis, I know you're in chat. I don't think. Yeah, that's what you got done for. Yep.
And then didn't wait.
And then drove off. Yep. So I think that's. We'll watch that one more time. So you go. I think the little bump on Evo was whatever.
That's just a bit of
enough.
door banging.
Yeah, that's nothing. But this is not brilliant.
Yeah.
And then just driving off. Not brilliant. So what was that? That was 5 and 10. Think that's fair. I don't think you can really complain about that. Okay, and then we've got admin causing trouble again. So this is Liam on Osric. Oh! Don't know what
Liam Deary up to overtaking.
Oh, clearly
You
not.
don't overtake Liam Deary. You do a back marker. Broke himself, no.
Yeah.
However, I'd like to see where Liam came from.
We're about to see it.
Okay, so he wasn't alongside him coming
No,
up
he
to the
was
corner.
not alongside.
No downshift. The gears didn't work until the last second.
I mean, yeah. I mean, did you wait, Liam? You're in chat. I'm assuming you did wait if we go back. And it is door to door, and he's made 2 positions anyway, so he does wait. Look at he's off the. I'm assuming he waits for Osric to come back. Yeah, he goes off the. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a bit like James. He's waited all the way.
I'm not sure what Osric just did there, but
Yeah, I think Liam had the same question, but I think Osric was actually avoiding the person on the inside. We did watch.
Oh, okay.
There was someone up his inside. Yeah, careless driving, and he waits. Yep, I think that's the difference between these two was Liam waited and Lewis absolutely did not and drove off. So, yeah, fair enough. I think Liam will admit that was on him, and he waited, so that's fine. Oh, Andrus, what have you done? Right. Also doesn't
At 10
wait.
place, 10, alright.
Bad things. Oh God. What are you doing? Oh, I don't think we need to see it. I want to see it from Andrus.
Yeah.
That's not going to tell us anything because he came out of nowhere.
Here we go.
Oh, he's lost it. Okay. Yeah.
From what that looked like as well, I think he thought he was going to pass him because of the rubber banding, and then he looked like he was closing there, and
then he goes away,
and then it went back. So he's moved out from behind him quickly, and then couldn't get on the brakes.
Yeah, it's interesting because it does come back in, and he jinks left.
Yeah.
But then he can't brake because he's jinking left.
Yeah.
Out, in, jink. Yeah.
So that's on Andrus, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then drives off.
Yeah. Is that minor
Five-
mistake?
No, careless.
Careless,
5
careless.
and 10. I mean,
Oh yeah, careless is more than.
I think that's fair. I think that's similar
Yeah.
to Lewis's one. So yeah, I don't really have any complaints with
Has this
that
got lap
penalty.
numbers or?
It does. So that was lap 3.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
think 10 might have been a bit harsh, but
maybe, but I think that was clearly his fault as well. You know.
oh yeah, definitely
Yeah,
his fault.
Yeah.
No
I mean,
doubt about that. But
maybe you could have gone. Yeah, maybe 10 was. I don't know. I think the rule. We'll get onto place penalties later when we talk about other
yeah, well, like I
rules,
say,
but,
I'm not a steward, so
Yeah.
that's just my opinion.
It was his fault he didn't wait, so he's got penalised for it. Okay. Lewis again. Okay, waits. It's a good start, and then and again. Oh,
Just straighten him up.
and carnage behind.
Thought about waiting. Decided.
and then
nah.
he thought, nah, I've waited long enough. Yeah, fair enough. To be fair, I think that.
Yeah.
Yep. No complaints about that. Okay. We want any other big ones in race 2? Is there anything else?
There was
here?
definitely one oh in race 2. Oh, yeah. There's definitely one in race 3 by our old friend Tom again.
Oh no, absolutely. I just want to go into lapping.
Is that going to be another?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything here we want to look at? Rejoins, dives up the inside of Osric. I mean, it's Osric, so let's have a look quickly, because I know Osric will want to see it. Oh, I remember this one, actually. Whoop!
Oh lord.
Yep, looks familiar. So I think Axel is rejoining from something and just completely misses his his braking
brake mark.
zone. Yeah. So he's. Yep. No. Yeah. I mean. Yep. I mean, what did you get? Careless.
What was that? Careless.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Cool. So that's the first 2 races. We're about halfway through the things. We won't go through all of these, but we'll go through the big ones. So let's talk about lapping, because that seems to be the biggest thing that people have a recurring issue with currently with the World Tour. I say that other people obviously have other issues and have left, so we're not going to cover those because they've left.
Yeah.
And there will always be incidents, so I don't really know what to say about that, regardless of who we have in it. I mean, we'll see later. Conrad's got penalty points. You know, even God himself causes issues. But the biggest issue seems to be lapping. Now, I know Alexander has been. I don't know whether he's in chat, but if he isn't, I assume he'll watch this later. So, Alexander, I'll start this by saying, I hope I don't misrepresent you here. You've kindly sent this in. I know since then, well, at least I think I know, you've spoken to Ben Crook about the rules. I don't think you quite realise what the blue flag rules are.
Yeah, I think he thought we were under
Formula
F1
One.
style
Yes,
blue flags.
I think it's a very important and unfortunately, it's in our rules. It is every season of the World Tour we post it, and I don't know how many times we've said it, but let me repeat the rules. I'll read them verbatim. Oh no, I won't read them verbatim. You can go read them. Screw that. But you know, it is not Formula One. They do not have to get out of your way. What they can't do is defend or block from the faster car behind. The blue flag. Oh, hello, Dane. The blue flag is purely there to warn the driver in front that there is a faster car approaching behind, so they shouldn't block or defend. And that is the rule. So whether it be a slow GT3 or a GT4 when we do the multi-class, the rule is the car ahead generally sticks to their line. You know, be consistent, be predictable. That's what we say, right? Just be consistent, be predictable. The faster car, they're lapping you for a reason. They will get past you, and it's the same for all lapping cars. Now, often it's sensible to make it a bit easier for the car lapping you, right? Just maybe come off the throttle slightly as you approach a corner, or get out the way. You know, something like that. Just make it easier, because it actually loses you less time, and in the grand scheme of things, it all evens itself out. But we start from the position where the cars that are being lapped do not have to move out the way. Now, quali is different. Quali, in terms of cars on the hot lap and cars not on the hot lap, the cars not on the hot lap do have to get out of the way. There is a slight difference there. They very much do have to get out of the way. But I think what we need to learn as a grid and as a community, and unfortunately we've said it a lot of times, it doesn't really seem to be going anywhere. The cars lapping are just going to have to get used to it, that the cars in front are not going to dive out of the way. They don't have to. They may make it easier, but the rules state they do not have to get out of the way. As long as they are consistent, stick to their line, and don't block or defend from you. And we'll talk about a couple of nuances in this. They're doing nothing wrong, and it's the same for all cars lapping them. So yes, you might not have like an optimal lap, but so will all the cars you're chasing, and that's racing. That's what actually happens in real GT racing as well. They're not going to dive out your way like they were. I wish they get rid of it in F1. It would make the racing more interesting. Have it like they used to have it back in the day.
With someone dying every weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, swings around a bit. But I mean, you're racing, Liam. I mean, is that was your understanding of? I'm not kind of mis-selling this, or right?
No, it's a. So I had it on. I don't think it was Imola. Paul Ricard, I was about a second and a half off what the best lap times I'd done, because every time I did a lap, I got caught behind someone. It was annoying, but I thought, well, they were on their laps as well. It's not their fault. Like, you just got to take it on the chin and accept it. And then in the race, like, I don't expect people to let me pass. It's nice if I catch someone. It's nice that someone lets you pass, but they don't. But it's like the same. If I see Conrad or Papa or someone coming up behind me, like I did it at Imola for Papa, like on the what is it, like T5, the hairpin. I just ran wide, let him go up the inside, and then just join back behind him. Yeah, so neither of us lost. I lost maybe like 2/10, but
it's an art on both sides, right? Because the lappers need to learn who they're racing with, and the lappies need to realise that sometimes you just need to make it a little bit easier. But also sometimes when they try to make it easier, they actually make it harder, because you still have to be predictable, right? You can't just like, I'm going to come off the gas on corner exit and let them go around.
Exactly.
They're not expecting that. Don't do that. Sometimes just going a bit deep into the corner, letting them go up the inside, or just lifting when you're halfway down the straight, let them go around you. Something like that. I do just want to read out, because Bob sent me a message. Bob Jones. Did you know 808 spells Bob? And he wrote me a message. Let me just. I don't know what it will.
Have you only just noticed that 808 spells Bob?
No, I noticed it about.
That's what I say.
Yeah, but I like Tommy always used to say it. Right. So
that's the IQ level of Tommy, though.
Right, exactly. No comment. Right. So I'm just going to read this out. So this is from a back marker, and then we'll watch the video from a front marker. One area that causes some angst with myself being at the back, and this is Bob. Bob drinks tea. He doesn't get angry. One area that causes some angst with myself being at the back and regularly getting lapped is the lack of regard for us AMs by faster drivers when we are battling for position. So this is one of those nuances, right? When the AMs are battling for position ahead of a faster car coming up behind them. Situations arise where we can have a train of 3 or 4 cars all battling for position and even podium places in AM. A faster car comes up behind with the expectations of being let through, flashing lights and being aggressive. If they themselves are not battling on track, then they should give some thought to what is happening in front and not assume that they will be given room to pass, as this could seriously affect the AM positions on track. I'm going to get to the end of this before I say more. I think that most AM, I would hope so, watch the live status info in ACC and have the track map up, so no excuses if they are not racing for position and can let the faster driver through safely. Problems occur where AMs in front are battling and being approached by faster drivers who are also in the battle. Then who gets priority? I would assume the faster drivers. Generally you're correct, Bob, but we'll come to that. This does happen on rare occasions, and as a slower driver you have to make the call as to what is the right thing to do, dependent on the track position and status of all the cars. No perfect answer to this, methinks, but common sense has to come into play here. Here. I think it's all about awareness and being able to evaluate situations when they arise. I have let faster drivers through, and on a small number of occasions this has lost me a place, all part of racing. Generally, I agree with Bob. It is difficult when, as an AM, you are battling and there is a faster car coming up behind. What do you do then, right?
Yeah. I know that when I've had, again, like the top 3 or 4, whatever, come past me, and if they're battling, I'll kind of if I'm not battling with someone, I'll kind of do the same thing. I'll move into a position where I can let them both by at the same time.
Yep.
Or if I'm battling someone, I'll just keep driving, because normally, if we're battling, one of us will make a mistake and they'll probably just both go past anyway. Or if they're not battling, if you're the lapper, wait for those 2 people to make a mistake, because they're trying to battle. You're going to have an opportunity to pass one of them, and once you pass one of them, you normally get past the second one pretty quick anyway. Like,
it's difficult. I mean, there isn't an easy answer, right? When you've got 2 battles coming up to each other.
I think it's just patience, isn't it? Like,
it is patience, and I think when it comes to, Bob says who gets priority. Unfortunately, I think who gets priority is the faster drivers, but it's what does that priority mean? And
I feel like if you've got a compromised exit, the faster driver or the lapper has priority.
Yeah, what I see as priority is, you're battling, obviously pay regard to that, but if you're battling then actively means they're close enough to it kind of be actively seen as kind of you blocking, then that's you've gone too far. But if they're kind of like 6/10 back and you're going up you're side by side, then I kind of have some sympathy that you're not just going to back out of it immediately, right? So it is difficult. There is no kind of harder. That is the hardest bit, when you've got 2 battles coming up to each other. 1-on-1, it should be nice and simple. And kind of 2-on-1, either direction should be nice and simple as well. If a faster car's coming up behind a battling pair, just be aware that they're battling, and maybe just be prepared to maybe wait one more corner than you would ideally want to. Other drivers are going to be caught up in that as well at various times. That's racing. The other way around, if 2 drivers are coming up battling behind you, just make it easy, because otherwise you might accidentally get hit, regardless of how, if you're just trying to let one of them through at a time, that's maybe not how it will work out for you. But let's watch this. So I want to preface this by saying 2 things. Firstly, I think this was before Alexander realized this isn't F1. So it's actually quite a useful video in terms of, I'd be interested to see what you think, but in here I have problems with 3 of the incidents that are shown. And that's it. The rest are absolutely fine in my book.
I was just going to say, I think VTech, it is Adam Long.
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying about the AM cars who don't move out the way.
Yep.
And it's annoying.
And then it becomes about common sense, right? Because then it's like they can say, "Well, I was staying on my line," and but you're then also risking something happening to you. Why would you do that when you're 2 laps down? Just make it easy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we're in the fortunate position that we're not massively slower than the pros. We are slower, but it's only like a second or so of a lap.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these AM guys are like 3 or 4 seconds slower.
And this is the point about this one split. We haven't had this situation for a year and a half.
I don't know what people have on their HUD element, but I always like to have it on the relative time, so you can see who's coming behind you and who's closing on you. And then once you've taken a corner or 2, look at the relative, and if it's someone that's orange and they've caught you like a second in 1 or 2 corners, like think, in a few corners time I'm going to have to let someone past, rather than someone being on your arse like within a split second, and you've got to try and panic and get something done
and
to let them by.
There's a difference between diving out of the way and just making it easy for everyone. You should be making it easy for everyone. Now, often that means generally staying on the racing line and making predictable, and then just doing something that makes it nice and easy. But it's a learned. It is a skill on both sides as well.
Yeah, so like I say, if you've got if you've got that relative up and you can see how quickly they're catching, you can kind of plan like, okay, in the next few corners they're going to have caught me. I can think where I'm going to let them by, and it's going to save us both the most time.
And again, qualifying is different. Qualifying, you do have to get out of the way. Not if you're both on the hot lap. I don't care how much faster you are than the guy ahead of you. If he's on the hot lap, tough shit.
Yeah.
But if you are on a warm up, an out lap, you need to get out of the way. So I'm going to just play this. I would be interested to see what you think the 3 I have issues are with.
Okay, I've seen this one, and this one I know, I know who's to blame on this one. So.
And in chat, let me know which ones you think are, we should have issues with as a community, because that's what it is at the end of the day, right? What as a community do we think is acceptable or not? So here we go. Enjoy.
I don't think we even really need to comment on this one. Whilst Andrus did kind of take his nose off, Tom could have been cruising there, but back, he was full throttle for quite a while.
Yes, that's number 1. that one I have an issue with. Was that was Tom coming out of the pits in quali, so...
Yeah. That person moved off the track for him, so, like, I mean...
Yeah, I'm not sure what else you're supposed to do.
Again, really. Probably not the best place to do it, but...
Yeah, some of these are a little clumsy.
Made an effort, yeah.
But, again, this one.
Yeah, this one is... I mean, not much else he could have done, but could have done it in a way better way, but
and this
moved out of the way.
AM driver, this is Robert Arnavi.
Oh!
Who is... So I think Alexander wasn't quite sure what it was going to do, so he had to hit the brakes slightly, so may have cost him. But, you need to also trust drivers.
Yeah.
Robert's way out of the way.
I mean, if I was Robert and I looked at the track map, and Alexander hadn't even come around the corner yet, I think I would have been getting through the S and then slowing on the right.
But I think he wanted to set himself up for his hot lap as well, so there may have been cars ahead, so he wanted to kind of... it's tricky sometimes. So this is Alexander and Adam Long battling with Tom Week ahead in a race.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I would have said Tom could have just gone deep there and let them both by. And I'm not sure what's happening. But
it's a little bit messy, but it's not that bad. Like, he goes deep here, so he lets Adam pass. And then he goes tight. Because normally you drift wide there, right, to get something. And then that's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not horrendous. Not ideal, but he made an effort to move out of the way.
Yeah. And again, this is just a little bit like Jeffrey's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I think you could have just carried on, Jeffrey, or here gone to the left. So I know it's obviously.
And that's
tricky
hard, but
to judge.
And that's Jeffrey looking that they're battling, trying to let both of them through, and they weren't quite close enough. So that's tricky. But he was trying to do the right thing, so I don't really know what the issue there is. This one's unfortunate because he just loses it. So, not really sure what the problem is here. Alexander just keeps his foot down as well, so I think this one I have a slight issue with. Not that part.
So he's giving Alexander a tow for a little bit, and then now lift.
Yeah. See, like my issue there is he could have. He's made that riskier than it needs to be.
As soon as Alexander pulled out, he could have just lifted for a second. Alexander would have passed him, and he could have pulled back in front of him.
So this is your. I mean, look, nothing that bad has happened to this, but just lift here.
No. Yeah.
Like, there's no reason, especially with the kink before T1, to go side by side when you're racing someone. Like that's on the verge of like racing him.
Yeah.
Which is not okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming into a corner side by side with someone that's lapping you, then you've... No, he lifted for him.
And this is a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
He's
That was one of the ones where he should have stayed on his line
yeah.
and not tried to move out of his way.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, when we say be predictable, just stay on the racing line, then you've done nothing wrong. What Ricardo's actually trying to do here is get out of the way, and he makes it worse.
Yeah.
He gets out of the way, Adam comes up the inside here, no issue here, backs out of it.
Yeah,
perfect.
Through.
All you need to do here is just stay on your line. But he tries to let Alexander through, and it confuses things.
Yeah.
Right.
Just stay to the left. As soon as Alexander pulls out from behind you, lift off the throttle and...
Yeah. So, okay, this is Lorenzo getting on the grass to get out of the way. No, don't really have a problem with that. He probably could have just
waited in
here, but you know, he knows he's
could have been braking here a bit instead of.
But again, like, God,
this is not. That's not the person coming out the pits fault at Paul Ricard.
No, and he's out the way as well. He hasn't compromised into that corner really. It's such a short pit exit as well, and it's onto the racing line. And he's moved right. No issue with this one, really.
He would have lost like a tenth at most.
Don't really have an issue with that.
No, nothing wrong there.
I mean, again, probably could have
just braked a bit earlier or something. But
given a little bit more space, but he's given plenty of space, so I don't really know what else you want there. And he's let the car behind through as well. So this one, do I have an issue with this one? I think I do. So I think this is Liam Bowerhead. I think he lifts about here. There. Let's one through. Let's two through.
Again, could have lifted
a little bit earlier, but it's not the worst.
Still let them by,
This one, I think I have an issue with. I think we gave Osric a warning for this one, and I'll explain why. So he's miles behind here, but Osric makes a mistake. Right, goes deep. So then Alexander's up the inside. At this point, when you're the car being lapped, give it up.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way Osric should be trying to take this corner like normal.
No.
Now, nothing happened here, but
he kind of did similar to what Felipe did. That wasn't really any different to what Felipe did. So he might have done it and tried not to lose as much time, but he did the same. He ran deep on the left hand side, let them both through. So then
I think that is slightly different, because
whether he intentionally did it or not, I don't know.
That's the thing. I don't think, because if we go back and look at the Felipe one, I'm not going back to it now, but
I know what you mean though.
Felipe does deliberately do it, and that's just he's outbraked himself, and he should never be in that position anyway.
Yeah.
And this is Bob. I don't really have no issue with this either. Like, Bob's
on the racing line, then moves off it to let him by.
Exactly. What he's not. You can't magically get his car out of the way.
Yeah.
So, So it was kind of like one big issue there at the start, and that was quali. So unlucky. But you know, in the races there was nothing massive there. I'll be honest. No. You know, I see fans. So I guess that's Victor.
That's Victor, isn't it? Yeah.
From what we've seen in the videos, that is not. They've done nothing wrong. It's not F1. They do not have to jump out of your way. Now, if you have something else that's happened, that's what the stewards are there for. But from what we've seen in that video, some of it's a little bit, not perfect, a little bit clumsy.
I think these guys forget that, because is Victor in pro now?
No, I think he's silver.
Or high silver. He's still high silver.
Yeah.
They forget that some of these guys are like a few seconds off their pace, don't have as good car control.
Yep.
Obviously, not to bash them, but I mean, they probably don't play as much either, so they don't know where they can let people by sometimes and stuff like that. It's not, you can't have the same level of skill and awareness as someone that plays a lot, like probably double the amount of hours.
No, exactly, and that's why we asked the cars being lapped to just be predictable. If you stick to your racing line, then the cars who are lapping you are good enough to get round you.
Yeah.
And all you need to concentrate on is staying on your line. If you can make it a little bit easier, safely, brilliant. Better for everyone. But you don't have to. You know? We're not going to... Put it this way. And I know some of the pros won't like me saying this, but we're not going to penalise you for staying on the racing line. You know? Unless you kind of make it a side-by-side when you don't have to. We're not going to penalise you for that. The pro drivers might not like you. You know, because you make it harder than you should, but you're not going to get penalised from the stewards by it. But there is more chance that you're going to cause an incident, which will then be penalised by the stewards. So that's the risk. That's the risk you take, right? So I would always recommend trying to just make it a little bit easier if you can. But that comes with experience as well. We haven't raced, and I think what the pro drivers need to realise is that these AM drivers haven't raced with people like you for a long time.
No.
You need to give them a little bit of a break. You know? It's
also definitely much easier to overtake someone than it is to try and let someone overtake you, and without losing time.
Yep. So I think all we ask from both sides is a little bit of patience. We're getting there. We're not a million miles away from what I can see from that video, to be completely honest.
No, there's people diving out the way. So.
I think it's just a little bit of understanding from both sides. I understand the pros get frustrated because they're in intense battles, right?
Yeah.
And a tenth to a pro, and I don't mean this to come across the wrong way, but a tenth to a pro means a lot more than a tenth to an AM. Right, a tenth to a pro is probably half a second to an AM, right? In terms of consistency and impact over the course of a race. So it makes a much bigger difference to a pro the tenth or two that they lose going through. As an AM, and that's where I can see it from the pros' point of view, right? Because why not? As an AM, just lose 2/10, make it nice and easy. It doesn't. You'll gain that back. You know.
Yeah.
You're probably going to outbrake yourself 3 times over the course of the rest of the race anyway. I know we shouldn't. Hopefully, I'm not trying to come across as that AMs don't count, because I am defending you here as well, right? Because if you just stick to your racing line, we aren't going to penalise you. But it's a bit of give and take from both sides. But we'll get there. That's why we're having this conversation. Right, that's why we want to kind of have this conversation out in the air. I think some of the problem was Alexander didn't quite. And apologies, Alexander, if I've got your thinking wrong. Just let me know, and I will put the public record straight. But I think you thought they had to get out of the way. They do in qualifying, if they aren't on a hot lap, but not in the race. Okay, I think I saw something from Alexander. From Anthony saying who gets priority in leaving the pits. Well, normally when you're leaving a pit, you're coming out in front of someone who's on the hot lap in qualifying, so get out the way.
It's another good one to sort of try and practice leaving the pit lane and looking at your track map. I try and do it in practice when the 45 minutes before the race, and look at when you're leaving the pit lane, how long it takes you to get to the exit of the pit lane, and where people have to be coming round like the last corners or something, so that you get out into the gap rather than blocking people.
Yeah.
Again, that's another one it's all practice.
It is. And, a lot of pros are probably, used to racing on split-specific races on LFM and stuff like that, where lapping isn't a part of it. Racing here, as it stands at the moment in the World Tour, is going to be a very different skill set that you need.
Yeah.
And a very different patience level.
Traffic management is a big part of
it is. Yeah.
GT3 and endurance racing. Yeah. So
it's just something you're going to have to get used to, I'm afraid. Okay. So let's move on to race 3, shall we? I've
got time for a couple more incidents, and I'm going to have to shoot Dave.
Cool.
But
well, we can. Good. We'll finish with the Osric one then with you then.
Okay.
It's a good one to finish on. So this is so after Alton, because obviously Tom got his penalty at Paul Ricard, and then after Alton, he was very worried that he caused mass carnage and was going to get banned from the league.
So I think we should.
Yeah, just, give it time. Maybe I'll watch this back and be like, oh my god, we should have banned him. It was minor. At least this bit. it's unfortunate. It's one of those
I think
unfortunate.
it's a repeat of like Eric's Imola crash, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
just
like
someone braking a bit more than what someone else expected, and then the person behind brakes a bit harder, and it just sort of Constantina's back.
Constantina's out of there. So he got what did Tom get out of this? He got. Am I looking there? I'm not looking at the right one. He got 5. I mean, okay, so I think he got let off the doubling because Evo was particularly slow through T1, and we just about went on the side of that. And then we get to this one, which caused something which I'll talk about once. Well, I could talk
Can't see the names; they're a bit blurry. The one above
sorry.
Anthony Fox, is that my name?
No, it's Danny Montero.
Oh, okay. It's all blurry. I was like, what?
So-
I was like, what's my name on there?
So this is Osric.
Okay.
Into T1.
Okay, yeah. I wonder who I got hit by.
So this one, in our view, he's far too quick.
That's Sen, yeah.
Yeah, he's. I know in Osric's eyes, he hit a wheel touched the grass. He's far too. The grass changes nothing.
Even if the grass, yeah.
You're hitting him whether you hit the grass or not. Unfortunately, and well, secondly, you're the one who drove onto the grass. No one's forced you onto the grass, unfortunately. You have driven onto the grass if that's what's caused it. But this is far too quick into T1 on that one at Alton. That's the argument was, well, it only hit Anthony, and but it did cause more, which you kind of see from the outside view, and it could have been even bigger because that was a proper send. Because he actually sends this Aston on the left, which I think is Liam Bao,
across the track.
Across the track, and then he gets hit by Bob. You could just see him coming in there on the right hand side. But I mean, if you look at it from Anthony's point of view here, this is good. You can just see how quick, like the speed differential coming in here.
Yeah,
that's not a tap. I'm sorry.
It's got to have been at least sort of like 15 mile an hour, like at least.
Yeah. So that's why we went 10 and 10. For me, that was getting up towards reckless.
Yeah, like you say, it was coming into T1 on lap 1 on a track that's narrow and has a horrible T1 that's like a bit off camber and sends everyone to the outside.
Yep. Yes.
It's not one that you want to go flying into,
and then when you compare that to some of the other T1 penalties, we've got a 10 there, we've got 10 here, we've got a 10-10. So, funnily enough, Anthony got 10-10 for the one we saw earlier at Imola, the side-by-side.
Yes,
sorry, not this one. That was the same one. So he didn't get that. That's a complete lie. But other people have got 10 on that one. That is an easier 10 on that one for me. I don't think that's really in question. That's easily a careless. And I think you could argue that it's reckless. So, if anything, he's got off a little bit lightly.
Yeah. League ban.
Yeah, league ban.
Hammer.
But it's a mistake. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not deliberate, but it's.
Well, that's why. It's like an AM thing. It was Silver, AM, Pro. Everyone does it. Obviously, the AMs
exactly. Yeah.
Probably do it a bit more, but it happens. Like, we're not professional racing drivers.
Yeah, and
I wish I was, but
we wouldn't be racing here if we were.
Exactly,
we?
yeah.
Let's not forget we're racing in the free-to-race league.
Yeah.
Clearly not that good. So yeah, I'll just before you disappear, I'll just end it on. Obviously, there's. I don't know whether you've read Osric's report.
I just skim read it because there was quite a bit, but so I got the gist of it.
Don't know whether people in the chat did. Obviously, Osric thought his 10th place penalty was too harsh. I 100% respect Osric for taking the time to write that report, and he's 100% allowed to have his own views of how we should do our penalties, and we made that all public, so hopefully people think we treated that respectfully. We disagree. I'm not going to go over. We wrote a report back, but that was just to show that we took it seriously and to lay out our thinking. So hopefully people saw that for what it was, which was giving.
Yeah, I feel most of the community agreed with.
Yeah,
how we steward it. And,
Yeah, we're not going to change it. We are
No.
comfortable with the place penalties. They aren't just there to neutralise the incident. They are there as a deterrent. The simple way to not get on the bad side of it is to not punt people.
Yeah, and also how many times have we said lap 1, T1? Like, just lift off the throttle early and don't punt people, and
Yeah.
then people still end up hooning straight into T1 into the back of someone.
And we'll always tweak things between seasons for people. But we're not tweaking that. Well, I think we gave the history as to why we're changing it. No, we're more concerned about. Well, not that we're more concerned, but obviously we're concerned about doing the right stewarding and having the right guidelines in place. But we're comfortable with those guidelines. We're more concerned currently at making sure we're consistent with those guidelines.
Yeah. I feel so. I raced a bit of, not last season, was it the season before?
Mm.
And it was like a bit hit and miss, like we were trying to race people on track. But that was when we had 3 splits.
Yeah.
And so far this season, other than lap 1, but I feel like you're gonna have lap 1 incidents regardless of whether you're an esports pro or an am.
Yeah.
Like, it's been much better. Like, the racing in the actual race, I've had less incidents with people, been racing close with people, and it's been way better than it was.
Yeah,
those
and
few
we're
seasons
never
ago.
going to avoid incidents. Like you
No.
said, it's impossible. And unfortunately, sometimes people have seasons where they get hit more than usual.
Exactly.
Normally, it's one of Bob or Dale. Unfortunately, that's what we want to get rid of, the people who don't learn. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of the feedback we had seems to be, obviously the biggest moan seems to be about the lapping. Hopefully we're starting to address that starting with tonight. Generally the racing seems to be going okay, but we'll keep an eye on it. But that's why we went with this model, because we want the drivers to actually kind of have a consistent set of drivers that they get to know each other, and we go from there.
Then when we get angry, we can DM each other instead of
Exactly.
putting it in public.
Right, I'll let you go.
Right. Yeah, cheers, mate.
All good. Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of the stream.
I will
Try not to put everyone to sleep.
Too late, I think.
Yeah, there's 19 people watching, but they're all sleeping, so they haven't left. That's
right.
why.
Pump those numbers up.
Right.
Cool. Speak to you
Have
soon.
a good one.
Thank you.
See you later.
Cheers. All right. Before we jump on to the rest, just in general with PLR, I know Greg's in chat. Thank you, Simon. Simon's here. Someone's awake. We know this season's a big change, right? I wasn't expecting to be back this season, and thank you, Greg, for allowing me to come back. I would like to say we're in a transition phase at the moment. We've obviously gone back to this one split. We've lost some people, which we're always going to do. What we need to do is then make sure this doesn't become stale, and we still have a way for new good drivers who we want to join this group that we've built and want to continue to build, allows them in. So we're working on stuff on the side. My work has been absolutely mental the last couple of weeks. It is something I want personally to kind of build this new kind of yes, we're all awake now, Liam's gone, but it's something I want to work on personally to have this kind of like the old exhibition races we had and things like that. And we must remember it's also February, right? But we need to have stuff in place to allow people to come through into the World Tour. But also, we're not running a Thursday league at the moment because the driver swap didn't get the feedback, the kind of response we ideally wanted. And we want to run those things because we enjoy them. So we're in the transition. It's one of those one step backs, hopefully for 2 steps forwards at some point in the future. Where we've moved past the growth at all costs stage. It was not sustainable. We've got a good community. Hopefully we will continue to run it in a way that people want to hang around and spread the word, and we're working on allowing people to come back in, because we know we don't want it becoming stale in an ideal world. Okay, that's enough from it. Let's watch some more people punting people. So this is Liam. Liam Bao after the the incidents ahead that we saw previously, and this is a case of hold your brakes. So Liam gets hit, not his fault. He is completely innocent up until this point. Still innocent. I think he gets hit by Bob earlier, but let's watch him here roll across the track. So he gets hit by Bob here, but then this is not great. Into two different cars. So the first part of that, absolute sympathy for Liam. Second part, you need to know better than to roll across the track without holding your brakes. Yeah, that was a relatively easy 10 points. Right, let's move on. This is interesting. So this is lap 1, but it's relatively a one-on-one battle that happens here between Declan and, is it Andrus? Am I looking at the wrong one here? No, this is Brogan and Weller. I thought I was looking at something else. I thought this was a side-by-side one. Oh, okay. Ignore me. Oh, hello, Osric. I didn't realise you were in chat. It is a lot of hits in one go, but it's a simple rule. Hold your brakes once you've been hit, until you know what's going on. So I understand it can be flustered, but it's still careless. Sorry, I haven't really been watching this. So this is not the one I thought it was going to be. Okay, it's just it's unfortunate. I think did he wait for him further down? What did he get for this? Oh, he got 5 for it. Okay, we weren't doubling it because it was a bit awkward. That's fine. Yeah, holding your brakes really should be. Okay. Oh, this is the one I was thinking about. Sorry. This is Villa and Andrus. It's lap 1, but it's kind of not really a lap 1 incident because they are kind of alone in this battle, and it's just awkward and unlucky. He's just drifted. It's just a typical kind of understeer, drift out. Andrus has done nothing wrong. It's just a bit unlucky from Villa. There's nothing kind of lap 1 specific about that one, so it hasn't got doubled into kind of a pure lap 1 incident. So yeah, it was careless. It was absolutely 100% on Villa. So that's, or Vil, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Right, and then Tom. Oh god, this is unlucky. Right, so Tom weak again. So obviously Andrus has just been put out. So some backstory to this. So obviously we saw Tom earlier on. He got involved in a lap 1 incident, so he's a bit banged up, as you can see from the back of his car there. We've then got Andrus that you can see up ahead, off to the right, in the grass already. Part 2 more fun here. Yeah, we've got that Andrus. So Andrus is already out there through no fault of his own. Here comes Tom, and then this is, you know, sometimes you drift wide at this corner. It's his first time round, lap 1, damaged car, cold tyres, full tank of fuel, just drifts out into grass, and then he's just a passenger. Oh, I can only imagine the panic. I can only imagine the panic going through Tom's head as he comes around this corner. He's off. Oh, oof. And then poor old Andrus. Just, he's already backwards. He goes sideways. Just, oh god, I can't believe that's just happened. And boom. Oh. Oh dear. That's just. Oof. It was just. That's. Yeah, we've put that as a race. It's horrible, and that this is one of those ones that links into our. It's not about necessarily the outcome of the incident itself. It's about what, you know, the context and what could have happened and the potential and stuff like that. That was just bad luck all round. Yeah, it's an outcome of 2 different incidents from earlier in the lap, and being on the grass. Yeah, that was really unlucky. But then Tom does, so this is after that. He's got around the hairpin. Obviously, look at his steering is absolutely balked here, absolutely balked after that hit. But it doesn't forgive this rejoin. Straight to the side of someone. Now, you know, he mainly kills himself again. So Tom has had first lap from hell. He's had an absolute first lap from hell here. You know, you can't take the chicane. So he's done the right thing here. You know, he's just trying to get back to the pits. But there's no excuse for that. It's just into the side. He's mainly killed himself. Now, so you could argue on the incident alone that, you know, he's only hurt himself. We've got to let him get away with that. But no, he got careless driving for that. That wasn't the broken steering does not excuse that rejoin, unfortunately. Okay, and then we've got. I'm conscious of the time, so I'm gonna move on a little bit. So now we've got Victor and Jeffrey. And this isn't a T1 as well, and yeah, it's just a T1. It's just a T1 punt. No real. He hasn't absolutely ploughed it in like we saw earlier. So he only got 6 rather than 10. But penalty places, but he got the 10 license points. So it was careless. And we've got Tom. Victor. Yeah, so I think you got penalty points for this because you actually accelerated back onto the track into the side of someone, if I remember correctly. Yes, so obviously you getting hit, not your fault. You've done nothing wrong. Not quite sure what's going on with the replay here. We'll find out in a second. Right, so yeah, you get hit just after here. Off. Right. So Jeffrey turns you, but then I think you get on the power here. Yeah. So this is similar to the Liam Bow not holding his brakes. You've actually got the same penalty, interestingly enough. So Liam didn't hold his brakes and rolled across the track and actually hit 2 cars. You have decided, so that was more kind of a passive thing where Liam didn't do a thing, but rolled across the whole track. You actively got back on the power when you knew cars were all around you. So yeah, you didn't hold your brakes, but also got on the throttle. So yeah, some vague consistency. Who knew? So yeah, don't be doing that, please. And then we've got Conrad making a mistake. Now this is lapping someone. So this is on James Terry, another one of the Delta Hunters, so who actually goes deep. He goes deep into the hairpin with Conrad behind him, who was in first place, and Conrad hits him. And this is absolutely Conrad's fault, but I can kind of see how it's happened. Look at that. Look, Conrad's got a lovely car, by the way. So we look at it from, other than that Festico thing on the back. So he's quite far back. I think we see Liam. Well, he's a lot closer by the time we get to the corner. And Liam goes, yeah. So this is where I have some sympathy for Conrad coming into this one, because you can kind of see Liam going left here, and it looks like he's leaving a gap. So Conrad's like, aha, I can get in there, and then it doesn't quite get it right. And it's different, and we'll see this with some of the ones later as well. When a car is lapping someone or being lapped, the place penalties for like not waiting and stuff are a little bit different, because you can't really wait for a lap car and things like that. So we don't quite treat it the same way. So that was, I think you might be able to argue that was careless. Or was it James Terry, not Liam Bow? Sorry, my mistake. It was. It says it right there. They both drive Astons, though, don't they? Or drove Astons. Yeah, you could maybe make the argument that that was careless, but I think it was minor because I could see why Conrad thought it was opening up there, coming up behind a car he was lapping. So I think we went with minor in the end there. Okay, so that brings us to the end of round 3. And then we get to the round 4, and Evo did not have a good race, unfortunately. I think he actually has a race ban for tomorrow, unfortunately. I think you may have been in chat earlier, Evo. It did not go well for you, my friend, unfortunately. You've been so much... Hopefully you don't mind me saying this, but Evo... 5 seasons ago? I think that's when he first got up into kind of silver, split 2. Or maybe he was still a very fast AM. I can't quite remember. He had one horrendous race as older. Like, it was awful. He hit everyone twice on the first lap, I think, or something like that. It was not great. He had broken steering and stuff, and it was just one of those laps that we can all have occasionally. But essentially, since then, Evo has been not just rapid. I mean, he's basically pro level now, right, in terms of pace and consistency. But he's been really, really clean. Unfortunately, other than this one race. So yeah, let's have a look, shall we? So this is lap 1. Nürburgring. All good. All good. Punt. Oh, that was actually lap 6. Okay, so yeah, it was only 5 points. My apologies. It was lap 6. Yeah, so pretty clear. Didn't wait, so I think that's pretty consistent with what we've seen earlier. Careless, 10 points. Yeah, just one of those things. We then have another one with Evo, actually on lap 5, so it was actually the lap before. I don't think these are necessarily in lap order for round 4. There we go again. Yeah. No issues with that one. I think yeah, maybe you could say that was a racing. There was a very small touch, but that's fine. So nothing on that one. We then got Christoffel giving Tom Weeks some payback for all the issues he's caused this season. So I think that's fair. So let's celebrate Christoffel hitting Tom Week. Here we go. Well worth the 5 points, Christoffel. Well done. If you come from a long way back here. Or you come from a long way back here. Yeah. 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 I think he waits afterwards. But yeah, that's... Yeah. I mean, that's... Sometimes T1 at Nürburgring, you do that. So that's a pretty easy 5. Yeah, you didn't just drive off. So only 4 penalty places for that one. This is an interesting one. So I want to... So I know I've seen... I don't know whether Yuri's in chat. I've seen him on the Discord saying he's had a bad season, being hit by people. This is probably one of those things. This is unfortunate. So you can see here, I think Yuri is fighting with Colombo. And he's got Zunabovic, who is a pro driver. So that's clearly something's happened to Dean earlier on in the race or something like that. So you know Zunabovic is... he's quicker than you. That's the only way to, he is quicker, much quicker. He's probably closed up on you quite quickly from wherever he was, earlier on in the lap. But you're fighting with Colombo, so that's fine. Let's just watch what happens. I think side by side through the S's, and this is good racing here. Colombo gives space, but you kind of get a bit sideways out of there. and Dean takes the chance to dive up the inside. So that's a better view from the outside. So I think you just clip the... Yeah, so you get an awful run out of here, and you kind of... So Columbo gets around one side, and Dean goes the other. I think you close the door on him a little bit, yeah. This is just unfortunate. No, Osric, it doesn't matter, but you also need to... You have to be sensible, right? You need to be aware that, you know, with all the will in the world, Yuri is not keeping Dean behind him for the rest of the race. At some point, Dean is getting past him. It's not Alonso versus Hamilton at Hungary 2 seasons ago, or whatever it was. It's not happening, you know. So Dean is going to be trying to get past you at some point. When you make a bad exit out of here, and so Columbo's going past you. I'm not saying he has to let him past. Let me be clear. I'm not saying he has to let him past. But you need to be reasonable with, you know, at some point Dean's going past you, and you have to be ready for it, right? You're allowed to fight it, of course you are. But again, be sensible. And when you make the error that you do here, so there's a horrible little bump up here as well, right? So, you know, just be aware that Dean not only is... So Ricciardo goes past on the right? So at that point, you know you've had a horrible exit, and there's a straight down to the left-hander at the end here. Columbo's gone. You know he's got a proper run out of this corner. He's past you. You can't fight that. You really should know. You should now be looking in your mirrors. I know Zunabovic is there. He's coming too, because he's definitely going to have got a good run out of this corner, because he's sat there waiting for you to fight to get past you both. I guarantee it. As a pro driver, he saved it well, but he should know now. I've lost both these places. You can't defend this. I don't care who you are. All you've got is your foot on the throttle here, and the two people behind you have had their foot on the throttle for longer. You aren't defending this. Unfortunately, I think he realised it's just a bit too late that Dean's already up his inside. And Dean has every right to be there, unfortunately. And it's just unfortunate that it sends Yuri into the wall. So this will, let's watch it from this view, right? Because look at it is basically 3 wide, but you know, concertinaed. So he loses it there. At that point, you've lost both places. And he just closes the gap. Probably to get more out of the way of Columbo, but Dean's through. You can see he's setting himself up here. He's got, right, I'm going to be on the power earlier than both of them ahead. He's made a mistake. You could argue he could have gone right, but he didn't. And he had every right to go left. So that's a racing incident. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for Yuri, but that's not on Dean. Okay, then we've got a minor mistake from Osric. So this is just a little dive, little tap. This bit before was very good, by the way, giving each other space. But this is, you've gone wide, you've completely missed the apex, and you've hit him. You know, it's a minor mistake. I don't think you haven't got a place penalty, because I think Columbo, I don't think you actually lifted, but Columbo had the better exit and got past you anyway. That's a relatively straightforward one, I think. Here we have Evo again. Okay, Osric, it's not. Sorry, my friend. It's not. It's because you've gone deep. When you're diving from behind and going too wide, you hit that apex. You stay close. You have not hit that apex. You've just gone straight. But it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's a minor one. You've forced him wide there essentially by missing the apex. Really, that's why it wasn't careless. It was minor. You've just missed the apex and you've hit him. This is Evo into the back of someone. Verboven. Minor. I'm assuming this was a minor one as well. Assuming this is lap 1 actually. It's just a small little thing. Yeah, minor mistake, sir. Yeah, is what it is. Not a massive one there. So this is Colombo and Yuri again. Oh, is it another not hold the brakes? Not sure I've seen this one. Oh. When the initial tap feels like a racing incident, what's happened afterwards? Yeah, I mean, interestingly, I think he's got these points for not holding his brakes. I would have given it for cutting across in front of Yuri because. Okay, is that what he's got it for? He's got it for moving across, is he? Good. That's what. Okay, all right, yeah. I would have. Yeah, yeah, you can't do that. I don't know where Yuri's supposed to go there. And then the not holding your brakes afterwards, I have a little bit more sympathy for. But you're right, he's not on his brakes at all after he gets hit. So, yeah, fair enough. I can get on board with that. Having space. Well, he didn't have space. He drove across into him. Are we saying Colombo is allowed to do this? I disagree. If that's what we're saying, Axel. Because, okay, look here. So Yuri is on his line. It's lap 1. You're basically going to be going 2 by 2. So Yuri is completely... Just because Axel is ahead, he's not just allowed to, like, cut across as if there isn't a car there. And Yuri even turns to the left to try and avoid him and can't. If Axel was kind of, just going up the inside of the Aston ahead of him, that would be fine. But there's like two car widths between those two cars. Yuri's done nothing wrong there. That unfortunately is on. Is it? Yeah, it's Ricardo. Yeah, that is on Ricardo. Unfortunately, I think that's relatively clear cut. Okay, this is a minor mistake from Axel. Oof. Yeah, so I remember this one. I think we went minor rather than careless because Anthony's leaving a lot of space ahead, like a lot. Yeah. He's ahead. No, okay, Axel, that's fine. I'm happy to go back to this one to talk about it a bit more actually because he's ahead more than half a car. Fine, but he's just swerved across in front of him, and lap 1 is different because you're going 2 by 2 for a lot of the start of the race, right? You have to. Lap 1 is different. You can't just change your line like that on lap 1. Yuri is allowed to be there. You can't just cut across in front of him. You have to be clear. Actually, it doesn't matter what lap you're on. You can't do that. You can't just cut across. The side-by-side bit is if you're kind of going to go and try and make a move into a braking zone or something. Not, am I allowed to cut across and expect them to magically get out of the way of my car before a braking zone. You can't do that. This is a quality thing. I'm not going to... Tom got a warning for it. Oh, no Adam's in chat, so we can talk about it. Yeah, Tom was wrong. what's ironic about this is he tries to get out the way. He tries to do the right thing, and gets it wrong, because he slows down, like kind of going into this left-hander up here, right? So he tries to give you space. If he just carried on his lap, I don't think you actually would have caught him. Not enough to actually like inconvenience your lap anyway. And then he would have been on a hot lap, and he wouldn't have had to get out of the way anyway. But yeah, he tries to give you space. It's kind of similar to the Imola one we saw earlier with Alexander. He doesn't quite get it right, and it's not like when you're being lapped in a race where you just need to, he's just trying to be nice and let you pass. He actually needs to give you the racing line because you're on a hot lap and he isn't. So he's tried to do the right thing. He's messed it up. He hasn't actually hit you here like he did with Alexander, because you didn't quite cut across as much as Alexander did, because Alexander wanted that racing line. He's in the wrong there. That's fine. So this is Evo again, unfortunately. Incident number 3. Ooh, that's loud, isn't it? Turn that down. Declan, a nice red cut. Oh. Yep. I mean, yep. Let's see what. Look how far back he is. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not deliberate. He's tried to get the car stopped, but it's on him. Don't really know what else we can give there, but careless, unfortunately. So we actually had Declan asking about this. He thought this was deliberate from Jeffrey. We think it's oversteer. Oof. I mean, I can see why he thought it was deliberate. Okay. Yeah. Do we have it on board? On board for Jeffrey. So he is TC1, TC2 off. It's probably going to be snap oversteer, isn't it? So out of here on the power. What the steering inputs here. Let's look down here. Oh, let's go back further. Is there going to be a sudden jolt? Yep. Yeah. You can see there's just a little jolt to the left here. I think this is snap oversteer as he gets on the power. Oh, we're on board. Probably. Yeah, that's. I mean, why is on TC1 TC0? I don't know, but yeah. Evo on you. Do we have Evo on you? Yes, we do. What's next? You've joined just right at the time. Yeah, so I think he gets 10 penalties. So this is Evo's 4th of the race, unfortunately. Oh, that's nice and small, isn't it? Let's get bigger. Oof. Yep. And doesn't wait. Oh, Evo, not one of your best races. So it cuts. Okay, he's got the undercut. All good. But yeah, okay. He just corrects out into. I mean, Kenneth's done nothing wrong here. He's on the racing line. Evo's hit him and driven off. Considering Evo put himself on the inside there as well to try and kind of force that move, I think that's fair enough. Okay, then we've got the Osric and Liam show in this race, haven't we? Okay. This is Osric on Liam, and then we've got Liam on Osric later. So okay. So this one, what did we go for then? Just so I can minor, yeah. So I think normally something like this, because Osric's trying to get the undercut here. What Osric is trying to do, if we look at it from Osric's view, think what Osric is trying to do is get the over-under on this. And Liam's just a little slow. And Osric, hits him. Thank you for waiting, Osric. Very good of you. So the reason why we didn't do careless, because normally when you just drive into the back of a car, you're going to get careless. Liam was quite slow on that apex. So I think we went down to minor for that one. Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's... Yep, you can expect him to be quicker, but unfortunately you're still the one who hit him. So, it's not like he's stopped the car on the apex. He's doing his race on the racing line. You were trying to do the move, and you've hit him. But that's why we didn't go careless. We went minor. At the end of the day, you still hit him. So, and again, we know it wasn't deliberate. But just because it wasn't deliberate doesn't mean you don't get a penalty. So this is, unfortunately, Zvonimir, who doesn't... I think we should just give Zvonimir penalty points for not downloading the livery pack. Rude. But this is Liam ahead in one of the many just black cars, apparently, that race around with Zvonimir. Yes. This is Zvonimir lapping Liam, and Liam is letting him through and just tries to tuck him behind. Just, essentially what we ask of the lap cars. Unfortunately, he pit maneuvers Zvonimir. So I think if any pro driver is allowed to be annoyed at AM drivers, it's this guy right here for what's about to happen. Boop. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, he's absolutely destroyed him just with a little tap. I mean, bonus points for execution, but license points for execution as well. Yeah. And this is why it's good to know the drivers. Because if this had been a random, driver that we didn't know, part of me would be going, oh my god. Has he just deliberately... Has he done something to improve it, like prior in the races? He just pit maneuvered him. Oh, it wasn't even lapping. You were just trying to be nice. Well, next time, don't be nice. It wasn't even lapping. Well, there we go. But yeah, I mean, you've tried to just let him through, and unfortunately moved across to... I mean, it was careless. Yeah, I mean, you got it wrong. It's at the end of the day, but you waited. So, it wasn't a minor mistake. That was careless driving. I don't think you've got too much to argue about there, Liam, unfortunately. And then Zvonimir gets hit again. And boop. Yeah. Okay. So this, when I said earlier we were going to have, because this was technically lapping, because Zvonimir is many laps down here because of some of what we just saw. So this is, Zvonimir just turning in, doing nothing wrong. Paul Weller is, where is he? You can see he's 8th there, fighting with Robert Arlavi, and he's just a bit over eager. Look how far back he is, right? So that's, I think, Zvonimir just ahead there, like a lap down or 2 laps down or whatever it is at this point. You can't see on the relative, but there's no reason why Paul Weller should be doing what he does here. Like this is a pro driver dive bombing a lap car that isn't even an AM lap car; it's a pro lap car. Now, he's driven off and he hasn't quite got the same penalties as you normally would do for driving off because it was lap car, so it's a little bit different. And maybe he thought, well, I'm lapping, so he should have seen I was there and given me space. No, that was on you. So he gets 5 and 3 rather than like 5 and 5 or something like that. Then we've got Evo again and Liam to round things up. So we've got Evo with his 5th incident of the race, I think, unfortunately. Yeah, he may have got spooked by the car leaving the pits, but he still mucked up T1. So it's still on him. So what is this? This is Osric and Evo just a little boop and run. So again, I think this is Evo lapping Osric with a pit maneuver. How close is he? I don't think we need to see it from Osric's point of view. We can see it from. We want to see it from Evo's. So he is closer than Weller was previously, right? This is right on the cusp of, is this close enough to be making a dive up the inside? Probably not. Oh no, this is lap 2, he's down. Okay, so it's not lapping. Thank you, Osric. So it's for position. Okay, fair enough. Right, so let me rewatch this, having got my facts wrong. It's okay, so Evo's just sticking his nose in, Osric is turning, but then... Okay, hang on. So Osric kind of backs out of the apex here, leaving space for Evo, I guess. So there's space at the apex there if Evo wants it. He takes it, and then just drifts away. Okay. Yeah, so it's not the apex that's the issue here, it's the exit from Evo. And then driving away. I think we might have to... I'm surprised he's only got 3 penalty points here. 3 penalty places, considering that was lap... Oh no, is that lap 3? Or lap 3? Okay, maybe then. Maybe. Yeah, it was a bad day for you, Evo, it's all good. Yeah, this is on the cusp. I could have given that 5 and 5. I think maybe. That's a little bit careless. It's on the cusp because they actually did the apex just right, and I think Evo is expecting maybe something else from Osric out of it. Yeah. And then we have Liam and Osric to round things off. So Osric's got the run. Osric is up the inside. Boop. Are we good for this? 4 and 1. Yeah, so I think I actually looked at this one quite a bit. I think this is on the cusp of being really good. And it isn't quite. Liam has just squeezed a little bit too much. Because he turns in here. Now, that's just a little too much. Because you can't really cut this. Especially in the McLaren, I imagine. You can't expect as Osric to be expecting to cut the chicane either. So, it's just... It's not... it's very minor here. It's not like you've missed the apex. You've just turned in... It's a tight battle. You turned in... You could argue there is actually more room on the inside, but I can see why Osric hasn't gone there. So, you can cut it in a Bentley. I can tell you that much. You can absolutely cut it in a Bentley. So yeah, I mean, Liam can see Osric coming on the inside. This is all good. He's just trying to narrow the angles, and you can see from Liam's onboard, he's leaving space on the inside. He just hasn't left enough. It was also side to side, it wasn't front of car into back rear of car or side of car, which we've seen with others. So yeah, I think that's why we won't mind a mistake with that, because it was only just slightly wrong. Kind of a side by side here. It wasn't the worst we've seen by any stretch of the imagination. Whew. So I've been talking for over 2 hours. Before I give my little wind-up speech, anything in chat that anybody would like to raise or look at, I guess. Exiting pits. Exiting pits. Well, in quali or in a race? In quali, the person on the track. Race. Depends on the track. That's tough. I mean, the person leaving the pits, as long as they're within the pit exit line, they're going to be sticking to their racing line out of the pits. So it's kind of, as long as the person in the pit coming out of the pits isn't swerving in front of someone, you know, they're being sensible about it. They're completely. Why would they have to give way to someone? What? Okay, Paul Ricard. Where else is the person coming out of the pits supposed to go? I mean, firstly, Paul Ricard is a horrible pit exit. The person, and Donington would be the other one, right? Whoever designed that should be shot. But you know, it's awful. But in a race, the people leaving, it's not like you're merging onto a motorway, you know, and the people merging need to kind of, they're the ones who, if anyone has to back out, they have to back out. Yeah, as long as you are on the racing track when you are kind of coming back onto the pits. I don't you know, it's always going to be context, right? I know this is a bit of a non-answer, but like, you know, the people approaching should know someone's coming out the pits. They should know the track that they're on, that where they're going to be coming out the pits. They know they've got nowhere else to go, so give them space. Yeah, you know, it's not like the person out the pits has priority, but they don't have to give way. You know, if you're a lap down and leaving the pits, then don't be an idiot. You know, we're talking very specific situations here as well. It's difficult, but also, you know, the person, if you're a lap down leaving the pits, right, and you've got people coming up to you as well, they don't necessarily know it's a car a lap down leaving the pits. They just know somebody's leaving the pits. They should probably still compromise their line a little bit, or at least be ready to move, right, when they see a car coming out. Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't think there's an easy answer for that one. Maybe other leagues have rules about that. I don't know how we would manage that other by, if an incident came up, then we'd make a ruling as to who was at fault. Yeah, it's all about context as well, right? Yeah, I think if a car's coming out of the pit, to me. I think it's on the done pitting car's fault. Yeah, I think that's where I would start the investigation if we've got something like that. Like, you know, a car's coming out, you know they have nowhere else to go. At that point, they are, you know, you have to give them space on the track, right? Always leave it to space. You know a car's going to be there, tough shit. So, if you are leaving the pits and you cross the white line and make an issue, then it's going to be on you, right? So at least stay within the designated exit of the pits. Yeah, and if you're coming down on someone exiting the pits, maybe don't go to the pit exit side of the white line, and you're probably good. Like, for one corner, that it probably happens once a race, right? If you're unlucky, you'll survive. Not sure whether that answered your question, Anthony, but I think that's the best we can do on that one. Quali, get out the way. Race, you're allowed to be there. I think is the high level answer. Okay, so I'm expecting flawless behaviour from everybody at Silverstone in the wet. To be fair, Silverstone has plenty of places to make a nice and easy lapping overtake. It's not Maggots and Beckett's, I can tell you that much, but you've got a nice long straight after there to do it. So maybe if you're a pro car coming up behind the AM, wait until after that complex, or go through if they make a mistake in it, but don't expect them to move out the way during that complex. But otherwise, Silverstone is full of places to quite easily pass someone, I think. So you should be good. Oh, Greg is asking, when am I back on a PLR track? When somebody puts on a Thursday league. I can't race on Mondays at the moment, unfortunately. I have regular Monday evening meetings elsewhere. It's not Alcoholics Anonymous. Not yet, anyway. Which is really annoying, because I really want to race in the World Tour, but I can't. Thursdays I can. And we're going to look to kind of do regular LFM community stuff as well, because that's good fun. And maybe next World Tour where we kind of line things up better with the LFM for practices and stuff, that will be a cool community thing to do. But yeah, we shall see. Politically avoided. I just didn't see it. Too busy trying to flubbing the answer to Anthony's question about pits. Cool. Okay. In which case, thank you very much, everyone. Good luck. You have plans for Sundays. I don't know what that means. Oh, you have plans for PLR. Oh, okay, I thought you had other plans that meant avoiding me on Sundays. Yeah, I hope this was useful for those of you who are watching back after the case. Hello. I hope I didn't offend anyone. Talking about other people's incidents is never fun. I hope it's all taken in the right spirit. Hope you found it useful. I hope the lapping on Monday is a little bit more understanding from both sides, shall we say. It's going to be wet. Good luck. But yeah, I hope you're all enjoying the World Tour. There will be more news about other stuff in the meantime coming up. And yeah, let's see what we can do for the rest of 2023. Thank you very much, and goodbye.